Mr. Stone, in your testimony that you submitted to the committee, you state that the declining marriage rate accounts for at least half of the increase in the fertility gap over the last decade, and for basically all of the increase since 2000. Is that right?
That's correct.
Can you explain to us why it is you believe marriage rates are declining, and what, if anything, can be done? I was hesitating. Got to find the right words here. I don't necessarily want to live in a country where we've got a brooding omnipresence of a nanny state that is going to incentivize people to get married, tell them when it's time to get married. But I also don't want to live in a country where the government is disincentivizing people, where the government is artificially creating an environment in which people don't want to get married. Any thoughts on what we might be doing there?
So this idea of the fertility gap, it is rising, and it's not because people are wanting more and more kids. The amount of kids they want is about stable, and fertility is falling. But when we look at how fertility is falling, and by fertility I just mean birth rates, in fact, for a woman who gets married at a given age, her odds of having children and how many she ends up having are pretty similar to what they were 30 years ago. So this is almost entirely actually just about marriage choices. And of course, marriage is being postponed, and for working class people, it's happening less frequently at all. People with a higher degree still get married at about the same rate they always did. This has been presented in the past as a class problem, that this is, oh, there's some cultural shift happening in these different groups of people. Maybe, but it could also be that people without a college degree are far more likely to be exposed to extensive marriage penalties, that their incomes tend to be in the range impacted by that. Which then brings us to this worry about this nanny state, or maybe more like a grandma state lecturing you about getting married.
A grandma state. It's a new term to come out of.
There you go. So nobody wants this, right? Nobody's saying, I wish that the IRS would give me some advice about whether to marry my girlfriend, right? Nobody wants this. Luckily, this isn't what we need. If the problem is the marriage penalty, and I think it is, then what we really need is probably the first step is the most popular thing in Congress, to create a commission of some kind to study where are there marriage penalties, can we identify exactly where these things occur, and once we've identified them, can we come up with some agreeable way to probably in essentially a spending neutral fashion, essentially rewrite the eligibility and benefit rules so that we're still spending the same amount of money on essentially the same income range of people, but we're doing it in a way that doesn't discourage family formation. This isn't lecturing anybody about getting married. It's not pressuring anyone to do anything they don't want to do. It's just saying, we made a mistake in how we wrote some of these programs in the past. They weren't designed for a modern world where men and women are probably both working, and so when the eligibility threshold doesn't double, you have a serious problem. After we've done that kind of study, I think we really need a rule. That is, whenever we score a bill, we really need that scoring process to include, does this, just as a little checkbox, does this create a marriage penalty? Yay, nay. And if it does, it would be nice to know. It's not a hard thing to calculate. So just having a bit of forward guidance on this as we go forward, whenever we have a new bill that affects individuals' benefits or taxes, it should be scored. Does it create a marriage penalty?